Hey, this is Robb Flynn from Machine Head, and you're watching LineaRock.
Okay, so I'm here today with Robb from Machine Head. This is Vivien speaking. Okay, so, well, first of all, Machine Head just turned 20 on the 12th of October, so congrats to that, first of all. And now you're touring for your 7th studio album, Onto the Locust, which has correctly been defined the most daring and complex album Machine Head has ever created. You said it was a challenge, first of all, for the 5 of you in the first place. So, why did you want to take this challenge at this point of your career?
We really felt like we had such a big record to follow up that we really wanted to push our abilities as musicians and see how far we could take it and still write great songs. You know, I think what ended up happening is that we ended up kind of refining the songwriting process a little bit more. You know, the songs became a little, not much, but a little bit shorter, you know, a little more to the point, and that was cool. Kind of just streamlined everything a little bit, made it a little more direct. And I mean, it wasn't really something that we intentionally set about doing. It just happened, and it's kind of cool that it happened.
Yeah, sure. And like you said, you made 7 8-minute songs feel like a complete and an organic album. And you provided this extraordinary, I think, interplay between the core Machine Head sound and a wise use of classical guitar. You brought in a string quartet. So I actually understood you took classical guitar lessons and vocal lessons, which you didn't want to do in the beginning because you wanted to have your own style and not get influenced by other people. So why this choice now?
Well, it's probably time. You know, I had taken classical guitar when I was in high school, so I studied it before and I knew the basics of it. I had gotten away from it for no reason in particular. I just had gotten away from it, and with the vocal lessons, you know, I had covered Hallowed Be Thy Name, or I had covered Die Young as this acoustic thing, and then we had covered Hallowed Be Thy Name, and it was the type of thing where after 15 years, I suddenly discovered that I had this higher range than I thought I had, and I was like, just, you know, if I'm going to do this, I really want to learn how to do this right. I really want to get this down so I can own it and go out there and just, you know, have it.
Yeah.
And so I started taking, I had met a awesome teacher named Melissa Cross, and she started giving me some lessons on the road, and then I started flying back to New York to do stuff with her, and it ended up just being really positive. You know, and I told her right off the bat, I don't want to change the way that I sing. I've been singing this way for 15 years.
Yeah.
I just want, you know, I want to learn how to do this a little better.
I see. And how was jamming and recording with this string quartet? Did they follow your jamming? Yeah,
I mean, I helped them arrange all the stuff, and yeah, they were good. I mean, they were really, really good. I mean, it's such a different world for us. It's very much about jamming and this back and forth that naturally happens, and with them, everything's written out. You know, I didn't really put that together, and I'm like trying to jam with them, and they're like, well, we gotta write it down really quick. And so there was one of the girls could kind of freestyle back and forth, and so I ended up kind of zoning in on her, and then she would show the rest of it.
She was the interface.
The group, yeah, which was really cool to have someone who had that jamming ability.
Sure. And it's a really complex and multi-layered album. I know that, for example, Who We Are is actually made of 104 tracks, I see here, and the a cappella intro of I Am Hell has 18 tracks of vocals. However, I know that you don't like to polish the sound in the studio too much. So why embark on all that studio work?
It was more just to give everything this scope. You know, like we definitely are a band. You know, I grew up on a lot of punk rock, and we you know, we came from even a lot of earlier hardcore influence, and so we always want to have that raw, fiery element, feedback and stuff like that. But then when you want to make something big, to just, you know, spread it out, it gives you the ability to have this width to the listener, and it just makes everything sound a little bigger and fuller, and we liked it. And, you know, I think we really started getting into that with Through the Ashes, kind of spreading out the sound. But then when something needs to be tight and really raw, to just strip it down, because then you go, you know, I Am Hell opens with 18 tracks of a cappella vocals, but when that main vocal comes in, it's one vocal, just spitting venom.
Yeah.
You know? So you have those balances, and it's like you've got your light, then you've got your shade, and it just adds these different dynamics.
I see. Let's keep talking about I'm Hell. I heard that it was almost wasn't gonna make it in the album. You almost put it apart when you wrote the intro, and then finally, like near to the release of the album, you finally put it in.
Well, we didn't have. All we had was the intro and the outro, but we didn't have the middle, and so yeah, there was a time when I just basically had given up on those riffs and was thinking, all right, these aren't going anywhere, so.
Because they're so different from the rest.
I mean, it wasn't that they were so different. It's just that, you know, they needed to go somewhere and they weren't going anywhere. And one day I was I think I was demoing, and my computer broke. Our computer broke, and I couldn't record. I was like, fuck! I was super pissed, and I was really getting behind. And so I just sat there. I was like, all right, well, you know, maybe this is divine intervention. This is karmic intervention, saying, okay, try and write some riffs. And so I just stayed there after practice, or after the demoing, just writing some riffs for like an hour, and I wrote the rest of I Am Hell like in an hour. I just tried this, oh fuck, oh shit, you know, and it just all kind of tied together like really fast. Like,
that's impressive.
Probably like 40 minutes.
Whoa.
The whole middle to the end, and then I was like, wait, now I can tie that to the beginning. Holy shit, I can put that ending on, you know, and it just all fell into place. I showed it to the dudes the next day, and they loved it. So.
And it's a tale of a female arsonist, and female arsonists were considered to be the monsters of the psychological field, because when they did something like horrible acts, they did it out of love. So I wanted to ask you, what relation do you have with love? And I know that you said sometimes you like to feel like lost, not knowing where you're going. So is love a guidance or a reason to get lost? It's a weird question.
I think it's both. Yeah.
It's both.
Sure, it's a reason to get lost, totally. I mean, that's part of what falling in love is, isn't it? You know, getting lost in the moment.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I would say both.
And I know that This Is the End. It's actually the first song that you wrote back in 2008, right?
Well, yeah.
And it was quite challenging for you to start with, because like it set the high standard for all the rest of the album, right? You're happy with that, with the way it came out?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, I don't think it was tough. I mean, I think it was great. That was the thing that made, when we started writing, it's like that song came out and it was so awesome, and it was hard to play, and it was this great song, and like right off the bat to have the first song be like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. You know, we were,
it's only the first one?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we were, you know, I was very excited to start writing. I mean, we had wrapped up touring, and I think right at the beginning of April, and you know, I took about a month and a half off, and after about a month and a half, I was climbing the walls. I was just like, I gotta start writing, like I want to get down and jam, and then to have that come out of it as the first thing, it was like, this is killer, like this is so awesome. I mean, it didn't make it daunting to write the next stuff, it made it exciting.
Yeah, because it set the high standards, so you wanted to make it even more, like, better, the other songs. I see. I know that you read a lot. Is there a book that inspired you in any particular song in this album?
I think what I read a couple of books during the writing. You know, I read a lot when I'm on the road, and so during the Blackening tour cycle, I read, you know, a ton of books. I read, you know, biographies and fiction and a lot of Dan Brown. Like really got into the whole Dan Brown series of books, The Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code, you know, even the other ones that aren't part of that story. And you know, I can't really say if any of them had a particular influence on it. I mean, when I got off the road, I tried to read that book, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and it's the fucking worst. God, like,
is it?
It's all in, there's a ton of it's in Swedish, and there's all these Swedish names and Swedish streets, and it was just very
confusing.
It was like, it's just kind of annoying to me. Like, I ended up, you know, I very rarely do this, but I just put the book down and never picked it up again. So.
I see. And the song Darkness Within probably has the most heartfelt and personal lyrics in the whole album, I think. And it's a sort of prayer and an act of devotion to your savior, which is music. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, how has actually music saved you? I mean, it's also your job, so you have to like put off many other things like your family, your kids. So what's that special power that music still has on you?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of summed it up too in the question. I mean, you know, it is my job, and you know, there's this side of music that takes me away from my family. You know, makes me miss my kids, and makes me miss my wife, and makes them miss me. And, you know, that's a part that and we all have to try and balance out in our lives. But you know, ultimately, you know, it's about sacrifice and the fact that we love what we do, and we love the way music makes us feel, not just my own music, but other people's music. And you know, to come out here and play this for people and see all these people here, all throughout the world, that come to these live shows to share that experience of music and have them, you know, make a connection. I mean, to me, that's super important, and it's something that's, you know, it's carried me through my, you know, lowest lows, and you know, it's been with me in my highest highs. And you know, when I think back to my life, there's a soundtrack to almost every moment of my life that I can think of.
Yeah.
You know, for the first time that I had sex, the first time that I smoked weed, the first time that, you know, going on tour, just all these moments that happen. And you know, there's nothing like music. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that makes you feel the way that it does, and that is what's so special about it.
The 8th Plague Tour started in November 1st in Oslo. So how did your sellout shows in Europe go so far?
Been fucking amazing. Like last night we played in Vienna. It's incredible. Like just one of the greatest shows. One of the best shows I've probably ever played.
Wow.
It was so awesome. And the crowd was fucking maniacal.
Wow.
It's so intense. So intense.
You anticipated that your concerts will be the heaviest shows you're going to see this year. So what should we expect from tonight's show?
You know, I never know how to answer that question.
Answer, wait and see then.
Like, expect to get your face blown off, you know? I mean, expect to feel alive.
So we'll see. Thank you very much then.
All right.